All right, but it's 9, so we're gonna rock and roll. Happy 9th day of February. Um, Nice brisk morning outside. Lots going on. So I'll give you the highs real quick, and then we'll send it down. I'll ask y'all what's going on in your world, but it is a big day today, and y'all probably know this already. It's National Toothache Day. I don't know why we need a day for that, but we're going to go with it, okay? And it's National Read in the Bathtub Day. You know, I don't make this stuff up, right? I mean, I actually found this on the internet. It is National Read in the Bathtub Day and National Pizza Day. So you can have a toothache sitting in your bathtub, reading a book, and having a slice of pizza, and it'll be everything's good in the world, I guess. So let's talk about what's happening around the country. There is a lot going on, and I'm gonna stay out of the political news today because there's enough of that in South Carolina the next 2 weeks. So I don't think y'all need to hear anything from me about that. But what is interesting is the Biden administration is cracking down on folks that are paying cash for houses. So there is expect to see some regulations pushed through the next week that look for. They're trying to find folks that are money laundering. So I don't know how many people that are on this call. They're paying cash for houses today, but just watch out. You may have some scrutiny from the feds on that front. Speaking of crackdown, read a fascinating article this morning on the Journal talking about credit card fees, and the Biden administration's also looking at credit card holders to say, hey, you can't charge late fees like you're charging $35 a month. They're going to limit those to around $8 to $10 a month going forward. Well, these are proposed rule changes. So what y'all need to know is how this impacts a lot of department stores is amazing. Kohl's department store makes 30% of their earning share is based upon late fees. Isn't that crazy? So they're cracking down on these credit card companies, and it's going to impact companies as they try to figure out how not to make money on the backs of late fees. But anyway, that expect that to come down the next month or so as well. Busy week at the General Assembly. There's a lot going on. I need y'all about 9 o'clock on every Friday. You should be getting an email, our impact bulletin every week on what's going on at the State House. So I encourage y'all to read that if y'all have an interest in what's happening under the dome. Logan, Susan, and our crack communications team puts that out every week. So check that out. Well, the highlights of the day. The Senate, this is like, I don't know, 10 years worth of Groundhog Day here, but they're debating medical marijuana this week. For the last 10 years, that bill has been introduced and debated heavily over the floor. Supposedly, there's a deal in the works. It may be a little protracted, but we'll see. The Senate will probably pass it. We'll see what happens in the House. Again, let me set the stage. Y'all, this is like a broken record. This is an election year, not only for the presidential, but for all 170 legislators at our state house are all up for election this year. And so when that happens, they do some crazy things, quite frankly. A little cynical. Let me just throw the cynicism in there. But what you're going to see is between now and March 15th, they do some crazy stuff. March 15th is when the filing date opens. And so they're going to protect that turf, that time right there between March 15th and March 30th. Nothing happens. In fact, I think they're going on break. And then they'll come back April 1st to the end of, so after Easter, they're going to come back and it'll be just berserk. Everything's going through, flying off the shelf type of mentality at the State House. So we're in this crazy stage right now where they're just trying to placate to the base. In this particular case, because the Republicans have a super majority, they're doing some stuff. For instance, this week, the Senate passed a constitutional carry bill. That means that any South Carolinian that has no violent crimes in their record gets to carry a gun wherever they want to go. And you don't have to go to training for it. They can just carry a gun because that sounds like a great idea. Anyway, I said I'm gonna keep politics out of it, but we as businesses need to recognize our rights too. And do we want people to come in packing heat to any of our businesses? Most folks say no. So we got to understand our rights there, and that bill's got a long way to go. But they passed some amendments on the Senate side. The House came back and said we don't like those amendments, so it's going to a conference committee. We'll keep you posted on that one, but that was one that moved this week. One House bill this week now will allow you to legally go to a restaurant and have curbside pickup of alcohol, and they also allowed home delivery of alcohol. So Uber can be your friend now, and you don't have to go to the liquor store, and you don't have to go to the grocery store. So drunk dialing in a new era. Welcome to the 2024 timeframe. So that passed in the House this week. We'll see what the Senate does. Interestingly enough, the House also passed a bill this week that's going to talk about unemployment benefits. Right now, we pay, I think it's 20 weeks of unemployment. Somebody like Tara in that business can maybe agree with that or shake. Is that 20 weeks somewhere? Well, this bill that passed basically says we're in unprecedented time. Our unemployment rate 2.7% or lower. In times where the unemployment rate is really low, we're going to maybe 26 weeks. When the times are really, really tight labor market, what this law says is we're going to shorten the unemployment time. So there's a bill that passed this week. I think there were just a couple of dissensions. It was almost unanimous on the Republican front anyway, that would shorten the benefit cycle to maybe down to 12 weeks. So that means folks that are looking for a job are not going to be able to sit for 20 some odd weeks. They can only sit out for 12 weeks because there's always jobs available. So that'll be interesting to watch. It goes to the Senate, and we'll see how they slow walk that one. There were a couple meetings this week in the last 2 weeks on tort reform issues, mainly the joint several liability issue, as well the liquor liability laws changes that are needed. We're seeing this also all over the state. Our favorite restaurants and bars are closing down because, quite frankly, the insurance costs are so high, and they know it's a problem. We've seen it. I mean, it's not just in one section of the state; it's everybody. So there have been some study committees that have come up to look at those issues to try to discern what are the issues that we already know, but they want a study committee to review those. What I predict is there's going to be some more back and forth. This is a classic case of business versus trial lawyers. Okay. Trial lawyers have grown in the number of legislators over the last few years. They want all options for them to be able to represent their clients. Businesses have to afford to stay in business. And this is where it gets out of whack, because especially on the liquor front, if you sell liquor after 5 o'clock, you have to have a minimum of $1 million of policy to cover your business. But sometimes in some businesses' case, insurance rates have gone up over 70% year over year. So you're talking about hitting in the profit margin. That's it right there. And so a lot of businesses have decided to close the doors versus try to fight it, especially if you've had a suit against you as well. So you're going to see more and more businesses. If we can't fix it, you're going to see more bars and restaurants closing because of it. The other side, and that's a big piece. The other is the joint several liability, is deciding what percent fault and how you assign that fault in a trial. That issue is huge, and it's causing everybody's insurance rates to go up. The chamber's insurance rates went up. Y'all's insurance rates have gone up. If you go back to 2019 to look at your insurance rates now, you'll see it. So we're working hard to work with the members of the General Assembly, the state chamber, every business association in South Carolina is all over this. It's just we're in an election year, and sometimes big issues that matter don't always are not pushed out front because they don't want to deal with it. Hopefully, we have a small window after filing to get this stuff done. But if you see your legislator, let them know we need some tort reform, specifically joint several liability. It's a big deal. If you have questions, feel free to call. I'm throwing it under the bus. Feel free to call Logan at the chamber. L. Howard at columbiachamber.com on that issue, and or call me and we can talk about it. But it is impacting everybody. Industry doesn't matter the industry. Everybody's getting. If you got a business license, you're paying more. So anyway, let's. I think that's the big stuff from the State House. Locally, if you saw the news today, it's pretty cool. Went to a press conference yesterday in Lower Richland. They've got a new development plan right at Atlas Road and Bluff Road, but it's all an empowerment zone with the coolest thing is they're putting a long-term attainable, for lack of better, an attainable nursing home in Lower Richland, which is great and it very much needed. And there's not many. I think it's probably the first in the state. So we'll see how that works out. But I think it's a great opportunity, public-private partnership, which is needed in that area. One, they're also going to build a market for farm to table goods there, which there's really no resource down there for healthy living. So really excited about the development there. All right. Big weekend this weekend. Obviously, everybody knows about Mardi Gras at City Roots. That's the big thing. Or is it the Super Bowl? Something, either one. But Super Bowl is very interesting. Super Bowl ads. Can you believe? I mean, right? People either watch the Super Bowl for the game, some watch it for the entertainment at halftime, and some just watch the ads. The ad business has gotten crazy. So let's put it in perspective. 2023 Super Bowl, 115 million people tuned in. Even crazier is the demographic breakdown of that. On an average season for football season, women viewers make up 37% of all watching NFL games. During the Super Bowl last year, that was up to 47%. And that's before the Swifties even got hold of it. So watch out this year. So you're going to see all the ads this weekend. Not all, but a majority are tailored to women. And that's the growing population for NFL, which is why that's why they're paying to have Swiftie find a parking space for her at the airport. There's no parking spaces left at Las Vegas airport for private planes, but the NFL reserved one for her because they know how important she is to attract women viewers. Fascinating, right? So this year, a 30-second ad costs $7 million for 30 seconds. But more importantly, between 1995, a 30-second ad cost less than $1 million, and now it's up to $7 million. In fact, it's up 30% since 2020. Anyway, crazy. So that's the big news. But I love how they're breaking down all the demographic stuff. It really tells you the marketability of athletics right now, and the viewership is huge. And so see what you think. Watch those ads this weekend, or if you don't want to watch the game, they'll all be on YouTube on Sunday night or Monday, so you can catch them then. All right. I think that's a wrap for me. What's happening with y'all? Tell me something we need to know as a group, the good of the organization. Anyone? I knew Pam was going to say something. There we go.
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to introduce our new Executive Director and CEO who's on the call for the first time today. His name is Maurice Pearl.
Maurice, what's happening?
Hi, how's everybody this morning? I've just been in the community for just a couple of months now, since mid-November, and a really beautiful community. And I look forward to working with everybody here. So glad to be here.
Hey, thanks for joining us. We're excited you're here. Look forward to getting together here soon.
Yes, same here. Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks, Pam.
Sure. You know,
Carl,
I
I
always
was
have
gonna
something to
say,
say about the comment.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Good. Hey, by the way, thanks. The Leadership Columbia last month got to tour around Columbia on a comment. So thank you all very much for that. Hey, Tara.
hey, Carl, I was gonna say, you are correct. 20 weeks is the amount of weeks currently for unemployment in South Carolina. But we work in unemployment all the time. Here's a good fact to remember. There are more people working now than before the pandemic, but it doesn't feel like it because there's been so many jobs created. And I know we've all heard about how much it's put pressure on manufacturing and retail and hospitality, but it's also affected professional services. So things you might not think about, like insurance and attorneys and banks, are also feeling the pinch on employment.
Good points there. Yes, everybody's feeling it. And it's just going to get a little bit harder. Y'all know this. We talk about it. That pipeline is getting smaller. If you're hiring kids out of high school, lowest birth rates, those kids start graduating next year. So you're going to see a shrinking pipeline of talent. So we all have to be really smart on how we do it.
There are more teenagers working now, though, than there have been in the past. Like 37% of teenagers have part-time jobs now. So I think that's a good sign for the future, that the younger people are getting engaged and starting to work when they're younger.
Awesome. Good stats there. All right, hold on. Before I finally found the chat button on this iPad. So sorry, I'm traveling today. I'm up in Rock Hill, and so you can tell this is not my office. My brother-in-law let me crash at his office, but Peyton asked about the other side of the bill that led the governor to talking about the constitutional carry. That's a good question. I saw the governor sent out a press release saying he was disappointed in the House of Representatives for not agreeing with the Senate amendments. Peyton, I read that and like it was a head scratcher. I could not figure out what the heck he was talking about. He was disappointed about supposedly. I don't want to speculate. I'll find the answer and call you back later today. But that was an interesting comment he made. The first time that I've seen the governor in the last 2.5 years, say something derogatory about the House. At least the leadership of not agreeing to the amendments. So that was what I found interesting. But I'll find the answer and let you know. Okay. All right. Who else has got something today? I'm gonna have to start calling on somebody, I think.
Is it too early to get excited about St. Patrick's Day?
Never too early to get excited about St. Patty's Day. We just got the 29 days. We just got a month left to go. Can't wait. The green fountains will be flowing. And the lineup actually this year for St. Patty's Day is awesome down at 5 Points. So if you've not checked that out, and it's not too early to get tickets for that either. So check it out from 5 Points Association. All right. Donnie Waters, what's going on with you? Tell me some good news. Did he just hang up? Oh, he didn't. Yes, he did. He just hung up right when I called his name. I'll get him for that. All right. Anybody else have anything for the good of the cause?
Hey, Carl, it's Leanna with Graduate Columbia. How are you?
Hello, friend. How you doing?
Doing well. I don't know if anyone was at the women's basketball game last night, but it was quite the win, and we activated the whole game. I was courtside commentating. Not that I know anything about basketball. But from a hotel standpoint, I don't know if anyone's seen it in the news, but there's talks about Hilton acquiring Graduate. We'll still be Graduate hotels, but now we can potentially start honoring Hilton points and things like that.
Awesome.
So
I missed that. So
more to
thanks for that
come.
update.
Yeah, more to come on that, but that's exciting in our world.
I'm more excited about hearing you talk about Fawali and her behind the back passes and all.
it was it was so electric there last night. Like they blew them out of the water.
Those girls are dominant, and
I know.
that's with a few people sitting out as well. So the men and
Yeah.
women Gamecocks are really strong. The men coming into 15 this week was awesome.
Yeah,
They did
we're
get
gonna
snubbed the
activate
week
men's
before.
game too. But yeah, it was, and this is coming from a Florida Gator fan, but yeah, it was absolutely electric.
Well, we're glad you're actually seeing the light and hanging out at the Gamecock Stadium. Hey, listen, those games are fun, and
Yeah.
congrats to Coach Paris and Coach Staley for having two awesome teams. They're phenomenal to watch.
Oh yeah.
All right. Anybody else? All right. It's been real. I hope y'all have a great weekend. Don't forget Valentine's next week. I always tend to forget. So I'm giving you fair warning. Nobody should forget now. Thanks for being with us today. And if you need something, don't hesitate to give us a call at the chamber. We appreciate your partnership. And, oh, by the way, Ashley would have killed me for this. We got a couple things coming up. Next Wednesday, Ellen Weaver, the superintendent of education, is coming to speak for the monthly breakfast meeting. We'll be at Steger Park on Wednesday morning. We got some nominations open for our Kathy Novinger Award as well as our Diversity Equity Award that we give out every year. So all that on the website. So with that, as I was driving up 77 today, y'all know what I'm going to say. Please move the heck over and don't drive slow in the left lane. All right. Thank you much. Y'all be careful. See you soon.
Have a great day.